Your closing costs on a house in Toronto are not $10,000. They're close to $45 to $50K. A buyer I spoke to last year told me he budgeted $10,000 for closing costs. He watched a video online, wrote down the numbers, and moved on. 3 weeks before closing, his lawyer sent him a real statement. It was about $36,000 in land transfer tax alone. So he had to scramble to borrow money from family and friends to close the deal. And here's why that happened. Every closing cost video on YouTube is built for first-time buyers. If you already own a condo or a condo townhouse, you're not a first-time buyer. You got zero rebates. So your closing costs alone are a few $1,000s more than what those videos show. I'm going to break down every dollar so you know the real number before you start looking. Land transfer tax is the single biggest closing cost you'll pay. In Toronto, you pay twice, one to Ontario and one to the city, and the rates are identical. So let me show you how it works. Land transfer tax is not a flat percentage. It is marginal. That means different portions of the purchase price are taxed at different rates. Let's say on a $1.1 million house, the first $50,000 is taxed at 0.5%. That is $225. The next chunk from $55,000 to $250,000 is taxed at 1%. That is about $1,950. Then from $250,000 to $400,000, that's at 1.5%. And everything above $400,000 up to your purchase price is at 2%. So you're adding those up, your Ontario land transfer tax on a $1.1 million house is about $18,475. And now here's the part that hurts. Toronto has its own municipal land transfer tax. Same brackets, same rates, same math. So that's another $18,475. Combined, you're paying about $36,950 in land transfer tax. And that one line item is more than most people budget for all of the closing costs combined. If you're a first-time buyer in Ontario, you get a rebate of up to $4,000 on the provincial land transfer. And if you're buying in Toronto, you're getting an additional rebate up to $4,475 on the municipal tax. So that is $8,475 back in your pocket if you qualify. But if you already own a condo or a condo townhouse or a house, you're not a first-time buyer. So you get zero, not a reduced amount, zero rebates. So look out for this. Every closing cost calculator online, every YouTube video that says closing costs are 2 to 3%, they're assuming you get those rebates. You do not. Your land transfer tax bill is a full $36,900. Quick ask. I'm about 80 subscribers away from hitting 600 subs. So if this breakdown is saving you from a surprise at closing, hit subscribe and help me get there. Okay, let's get back to it. Land transfer tax is the heavyweight, but it's not the only cost. Here's everything else. So your real estate lawyer will charge about $2,000 to $3,000 for each side. And that covers the title search, registering the mortgage, and handling the funds on closing day. Title insurance costs about a few $100s or maybe up to $1,000 depending on how much you're buying. And this protects you if there's a lien, a survey issue, or a title defect the lawyer did not catch. Your lender will require it. A home inspection, that costs about $500 to $1,000. On a house, looking at the roof, the furnace, the foundation, the electrical panel, do not skip this. And if your lender requires an appraisal, that's another few $100s. Some lenders waive this, some don't. So add this all up. On a $1.1 million house in Toronto, your total closing costs as a buyer moving up, it's approximately about $44K. So those are your official closing costs. But the spending does not stop when you get the keys. There are costs that hit in the first 30 days that people do not budget. Property tax adjustment. The seller already paid property tax maybe for the year. On closing day, you reimburse them for the portion of the year you'll own the house. Depending on when you close, that is $1,500 to $3,000 on top of your closing costs, or it could be more. Another is utility deposits. Toronto Hydro and Enbridge may require deposits when you open a new account, $200 to $500. And here's another one. This depends on the house. Immediate repairs, changing the locks, installing smoke detectors, minor fixes you find in the first week, $500 to a few grand. Next, appliances. Depending on the house you're buying, you may have some old appliances. that you're not used to or that you need something more modern. A full appliance set runs 3 to 8 grand. Next, window coverings. Your house might not have any window coverings. The seller might have took them with them. So covering every window in a 3-bedroom house costs about a few grand. So 1 to 5K. So these 5 items that you mentioned could run anywhere from 6 to 18,000. And this is on top of your official closing costs. So here's the real number. Your official closing costs on a $1.1 million house in Toronto. $44,950. This is what I added up based on the example I'm giving. Obviously, every house is going to be different. You could be higher or lower than this. So your first month could run anywhere from 50 to 60K. So the true cost of walking through that front door is about 50 to 60K. Budget for it now, not 3 weeks before closing. Thanks for watching. See you soon.